my dad and I are going to do a W150 with Magnum with the turbo from On 3. It's going to have a Holley Sniper 2 and fuel parts from Deatschwerks. So we got a turbo, an exhaust, and the rest of the stuff back here, and talking about that turbo. Today, guys, I feel like my dad has a little bit of a junky truck problem. So today we're going to turn 3 trucks into one nicer truck. But it's still going to be pretty much of a bad truck.
Kind of a piece of junk that's better than the 3 pieces of junk it came from, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I went and bought this kind of junky truck because we like the paint. It has a resemblance to a good old family truck that was around. It has a little tiny bit of rust, and I want a truck that is a good looking truck, doesn't need paint, but it's a beater, and that's what this is going to be. The worst part is the bed, because of a bed liner has like a spot about this big that needs repaired, so we'll repair that. But we're going to take the good and simple from an 85, and down at the shop I have an even worse piece of junk truck that's a 93, but it's 4-wheel drive, and I don't want to keep Magnum fuel injection, and I want to keep all the simple from this truck, but I want the Magnum upgrades, I want the 4-wheel drive, and we're just gonna make 3 trucks into one. I say 3 because I'm not sure what we're doing for axles yet, but for the beginning it's just 2 trucks into one.
So we just opened the hood, and the first thing I said to this truck was disgusting.
It is, it's pretty disgusting, but what I want to show is that it's simple. So what this truck has is a fuel pump down there, which will have to be replaced with electric, and I'm planning on lifting the entire cab and front clip together. So the air conditioning will sit over here on the fender and stay. The wiring is old and simple, and it's actually in pretty good shape, so I'm going to leave the wiring other than some upgrades it needs, or just a little tinkering. And that way we have the 85 body, the 85 wiring harness.
But the frame, engine, axles, transmission, transfer case will all be 93. But the fuel injection is now going to be Holley Sniper 2.
Aside from that stuff I just described, the floor hump in this 2-wheel drive is really small compared to the 4-wheel drive, so I'm going to go ahead and save the floor hump out of the 93 just so I can swap it over to this truck. Otherwise, that's the main thing. So seat and carpet have to come out, but body mounts have to be accessed to do that pretty much too. So it won't be too big a job digging into this truck and keeping it looking like it is, but on another chassis.
Well, the only thing about this truck is that I hate it, so it's a very junky truck.
Very junky truck, but it's got some good parts. It's got a very clean frame. It's got a set of axles, although they're nothing special, just a set of half-ton axles, but they do have lockout hubs. It does have the 4-wheel drive floor hump that we were talking about, and it does have transmission transfer case, and best of all, a Magnum V8. That's mostly complete.
I still missed it. So you say ready, set, go.
I took all the bolts out of the bed, all the bolts out of the cab, all the bolts out of the fenders. We're going to go lift the cab and bed off with a forklift, but right now I'll just take the fenders off. I don't know if they're quite ready, but they're close. Oh yeah. The cab still needs the steering column and shifter linkage removed and a couple wires, but not very much.
So it was a little boring for him to do this, but he just wanted to be dead. I don't know what to say. What do you mean you forgot to? Can I come over there?
Yeah.
I think next time they would want to ride with you.
Oh yeah?
And that's what I want to do.
E-brake.
Are you kidding me? Oh, it's a noisy thing. Did you break it?
Yep.
Wait, can I ride with you?
Okay, you can ride with me now. You ready?
This is what happened with the bed.
Yeah, it didn't go so good, did it?
Yeah.
We'll get her over there. Yeah, we have our cab off the truck. It looks like this part of the truck over there now, doesn't it?
I'm very impressed of how rusty it is.
What she means is how terrible it looks to a girl, but like this is a pretty good frame. Like this will wash up. Excellent frame. I can't get a focus. Excellent frame. We're gonna go wash it next.
So we came home and Dad power washed the truck. If you touch it now, it doesn't make your fingers dirty.
We didn't quite finish power washing up front because I still had some of the front clip parts, but we power washed the rear, stripped all the wiring that we didn't need.
While you were doing that, I was chugging down a bunch of candy.
She ate a bunch of candy. And we've got an intake manifold ready. I'm thinking I'm going to keep all the Magnum front accessory drive stuff. I kind of didn't want to because I was going to keep the air conditioning in that truck, but it's not worth it. I'll just make a couple changes and we'll make this air conditioning work in that truck. So pretty good for an afternoon. We did good.
And now we're about to eat a pizza.
Pizza on the way.
So if you look over here, we took this off and it won't come out. So is it possible to take a sifter out? I don't know.
I'm not going to do too much to this thing until it's time to actually swap it. So I'm going to get its transmission leaking self out of the way and put the chassis in this garage so I can work past dark now. It's getting dark a little too early. Before I move it, there is a couple things I decided I want to do. This door has been jacked around backward. Looks pretty okay from the outside, but the hinge is really beat up. The door itself there, so I'm going to fix that door. Well, I got the running boards off with the help of my father-in-law. We took the driver's door off to do some little work on this issue and spruce up some other things. That had us taking the windshield wipers apart to do the bushings in there, and we got the squirters all cleaned up. Had to flush them back out. Cleaned a ton of stuff out of each side of the cowl, so I've got more to clean out there. And the headliner's looking better with, I was gonna do a new headliner, but we just took it out and it looks fantastic. Ronnie took one look at the interior, said, I hate it, but then she changed her mind a little bit, but I think I can bring her around with some new carpet and that four-wheel drive hump. I just shoved it off the trailer in the yard so I could get it pulled up to the garage and work on the front of both trucks at the same time. Pay no mind to that noise over there. And we got rid of a whole bunch of stuff, Magnum or otherwise related, that we just don't need anymore. Bam. Well, it took some grunting, but I shoved it back up there, and we got both trucks at least out of rain. I keep looking at this thing, and I keep getting more committed, but I think we're doing a single turbo on this thing. Magnum W150. I'm never normally doing 5-lug stuff, always 8-lug. I just think we're gonna make a fun driver out of this thing. Well, I couldn't move, so I had to do a quick cleanup and a reset, and we're about to dig back in it. It's crazy how much dirt came out of the cowl, and I haven't gone down into the kick panels yet, so I know they're full too if there was that much in there. Okay, here's where I am with this chassis that I'm using. I'm gonna embrace the rust. It's super clean. It cleaned up really well. It just has a rusty appearance, and I'm going to run with it. I'm gonna powder coat some parts to blend with it, make it look good like it's supposed to be there instead of something I left there. And I'm going to not lift it. I might do a 1/2 inch or an inch. And I'm going to do a crossover steering kit. Even though we don't have a full kit for this style truck yet, I will make a no lift crossover for a 1/2 ton. And I'll do a couple other options on that steering system while I'm at it. But I am going to take this cheap project to a next level and stay cheap. I am going to go exhaust manifold, crossover, single turbo, and that's going to come together pretty fast. I'm going to use the stock exhaust that runs past the transfer case, the 3-inch section, and I'm going to come right up here to a turbo in this area, and I'm going to make some mounts for it, and I'm going to bring the stock piece of pipe right there underneath the trans. This stock down pipe here, I'm going to swing underneath the trans and join them together, and this is going to come into a turbo kit that will fit under the hood with no modifications of the truck pretty fast. I'm going to start on it right now. So the stock crossover I just cut to spin right there. I'll tack it back together. It goes straight across under the front of the transmission using stock parts over here. I cut that off right off the manifold. I'm going to use the piece that I cut off of here, extend it 1 inch, and now I'm lined up with that pipe coming over, and I can use what's left of that 90, or part of a 90, to connect into it. I was able to get my crossover pipe all put together. It's not welded, it's just tacked, but it's bolted in on both sides. And I'm going to come off of there forward for my turbo hot pipe and right back through here and down from my exhaust to the factory exhaust and 3-inch out the back. So this U-pipe from manifold to manifold is welded together. Took off to go past the oil filter with a V-band clamp in there. And now we have our exhaust exit just ahead of the number 2 cylinder, just below the number 2 cylinder. I'll have it up off the frame rail, but that's where it is. Now, I guess we need a turbo. The thing that bugs me about a lot of turbo projects is they increase the amount of underhood hot piping, and everything basically needs protected against exhaust temperatures, and I like to avoid that, keeping the turbo and all the exhaust piping in a place that they would have been, so you don't have to heat proof so many things under the hood. The cool thing that I got done this week, turbo. On 3, local, went and picked up stuff. Real happy with the price. It's gonna really help this thing stay in the word budget, even though we're doing turbo. There we go. Got a little on 3. We got ourselves 7696 with a billet wheel. Why did we go with this size? 318 is not big, 360 is not much bigger, but it does make a difference. Right now I'm 318. I do want to tow with it, so we don't want it choking out. The billet wheel is going to help it spool. I could have went a touch smaller to spool, but then probably would have choked up. So this is the way to do it, is a billet wheel, and I got a T4 turbo here. Now also, when I was up there, picked up the blow-off valve and wastegate, and everything I need pretty much to start welding this together besides the tubing I already got coming up from the exhaust manifolds and a downpipe, so it's on. I'm gonna take this over to the 85 and see how it looks under the hood, even though I pretty much know where I'm putting it. Something like that. So I've already explained, this is the body it's going on, but not that motor, because this cab and front clips are getting set right on that chassis. But other than these air conditioning lines being in the way and I flip them out of the way, we're looking at the exact same setup. So let me show you what's in there. I'm probably going to unbolt these, get them out of the way. I don't even know where I put that turbo. So I'm bringing the hot pipe along the frame rail, and I'm bringing the charge pipe from the manifolds. I don't know what you call that. Up pipe, it's a weird name. From under the exhaust manifold. So under the manifold's coming out right here, and then this is going down, so I kind of feel like I'm probably going to tilt it, but maybe I won't. But definitely have to remove my windshield washer reservoir, but I'd say that's about all turbo vehicles. Yeah, air conditioning lines have to go. They're annoying the heck out of me. I did get the air conditioning lines out of the way, and I held it a couple different places, and I feel like this is going to be almost butted up to the reservoir bottle. Of course, it'll be gone. In line with the alternator, kind of the exhaust housing in line with my number 2 cylinder, and that seems like the spot to me. We have a T4 exhaust flange right up here. I think that's where it needs to be. Of course, it's barely welded in, but there we are. This is the turbo we've got for this truck. Ooh, on 3 there, ready to go. Excited about that. Should be some pretty simple fab. So there the turbo sits. It's got it propped up in place. Nice and flush with the front of the motor. Plenty of room to the side. This misses the inner fender, and the exhaust is going to run nice and tight to that manifold and is going to miss anything else that was under the hood. Still got to bridge this gap right here. Should be pretty simple. Mother-in-law got out a dusty pair of Mopar valve covers that had never been on a motor before. All I got to do is clean them up.
So as you can see, we have our turbo and stuff back here, and we probably won't be able to finish it because in like 7 hours. We're about to get in my friend's car, go to the airport, and take 2 flights to Mexico. And Dad could have finished it 2 days ago. He didn't have me to weld it.
Now, why do I need you to weld it?
Because I said I wanted to.
So Ronnie's gonna weld the exhaust, and we got to come back from vacation to do that. So that's as far as we're getting on this video, and that's a wrap.
Thanks to Holley on 3, Deatschwerks, and Optima Maddie. Thank you so much for helping me. That's right.